Hello, everybody. Hey,
Hey,
Pastor
youngins.
Norman.
Hello.
Hello, shiny head.
Well, see, you got a hat on because if you didn't have your hat on, your head would be shining too.
Yeah, I
See,
would.
I,
See
I
that?
see all I see all the glory right there.
Get out there. Get out of there.
Oh, is it hot down there?
Oh yes, ma'am.
It's hot up here too, boy.
Ooh, the
It
AC won't
is.
shut off.
They say it's hot as a fat lady's girdle.
That's hot.
That's
That's
hot, isn't
that's hot.
it? That's hot. Huh?
That is real hot.
I got that from my daddy. My daddy. My daddy had all kinds of sayings. He had, oh
They,
man.
they, I tell people all the time. They always say kids say the darndest things, but older people say the darndest things too.
Yeah. Especially if they grew up in the country. Yes, Lord.
Hmm.
My daddy had more sayings you never would believe. Such as when it's raining and you hear the people driving down the street. He said the tires are frying. It sound like tires are frying. Sound like
Never.
somebody fried eggs.
What?
And then
That's the way they sound,
when it
too.
rains really, really hard, it says raining like a cow peeing on a flat rock.
Now I heard that. Heard that before. I
Mhm.
There's
heard
a
that.
bunch of sayings. He had plenty of sayings. Oh, every now and then one will pop up in my head. Well, what you been doing today?
Ooh, I had worked out, cooked. Dad called me actually when I was just finished grilling up some chicken. We had some chicken burritos today.
Okay.
Yeah, and uh, trying to get ready for next week, and
What's
ran to
happening
go.
next week? What's happening
You
next week?
got trip.
You gotta go.
I will be traveling to Jacksonville, Florida. My wife and
Oh, that's
I.
right.
I am the guest speaker on that Friday night, July 10th, at a
Yeah.
conference entitled Praycation.
Oh,
Yeah. And
okay.
so I'm asked to do a healing and deliverance service on that Friday night.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Cool. Wow. I like to be a fly on the wall. I really would.
Y'all
It's
always a fly on the wall because every time we get you ask me what I preach on Sunday or whatever, y'all are saying
I'm
exact
gonna
same.
ask you again in a minute. You know I am. Let me see who's here first. I know my sister's here. My sister's here. Hey, sister, how you doing, darling? I don't know. Everybody might be kind of laying low because it's hot. I tell you, it's hot. It is so hot.
Hmm.
My brother-in-law's on here too. So I don't know who else is on here. They're not saying anything if they are. But anyway, we're gonna go on with our stuff. I got a question. I'm gonna ask you first what you preached on Sunday though. First, before I ask the question, what you preach on Sunday?
Uh, I'm well, still on the power of imagination that morning, but on that Sunday evening, I preached on the topic "Who's in your head?"
Oh, mm. Now that'll go
And
somewhere there.
yeah, that was the premise. Now, for all those that have been athletes and so forth, they know that when we are in, whether you're playing basketball, football, or whatever, your opponent is always trying to get in your head. And so I was sharing with them how
Mhm.
oftentimes we allow people who have our ears also get into our heads. And so
Mhm.
I've been sharing how words are like a paintbrush, painting on the canvas of your mind. And so that's pretty much where I came from Numbers chapter 13 when they had went and spied out the land and Joshua Caleb came back with the report, yes, everything that the Lord told Moses is in the land and land flow with milk and honey. They came back with the pomegranates and the grapes and everything. And then the other 10 focus was on the giants that was in the land. And so Joshua and Caleb was saying, Caleb especially said, we're well able to go and take the land. But the other 10 made the statement that in their own sight, they were grasshoppers. And because they saw
Mhm.
themselves as grasshoppers, the inhabitants of the land saw them that way as well. So I was
Mhm.
talking
Mhm.
about again how we allow just people, situations get in our head, and once they're in our head, then they kind of control our outcome.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds real good. I know people blessed by that. They
Oh
have.
yes, we had an awesome time. I had an experience, maybe about an hour ago before I came here. A young man that we've been praying for, he passed away. So they're having his homegoing services on tomorrow, and I can't make it because I got to take my mom to the doctor. And so I went to take a card, to the funeral home so they can, read it or whatever. And I ran into a lady who saw the bracelets that I wear on my arm. And
Yeah.
so she's very in tune with the gems and everything. She started talking about the earth and all that. So I started sharing some stuff. And so she was like just wild by what I was sharing and talking about our true identity. And she was like, where have you come from? Where have you been? So the owner of the funeral said, well, you could get him on fit because I be watching this, bro. I've discovered in the past 2 weeks, there have been more people watching the broadcast that I have not been aware of. And they're truly being blessed by it. So yeah.
So have it happens with us too. There's so many people that watch us not so much while we're live, but they come on after and look at the videos. So yeah, we've got quite a few people that's following us. But I've got a question for the two of you guys, and for you guys who are listening. Hey, Sister Phyllis, I see you guys are here. I see you, sweetheart. Um, if I'm saved, why do I feel so unsafe?
Ooh, that's good. That's
we
good.
we talk about being saved, but when you really look at our lives and our lifestyles and how much we are still in survival mode. Survival mode is what if such and such happens, and the mind goes off into, like you say, in imagination, in the what if something could happen, and starts predicting what could happen, what might happen, and then the how to fix thoughts pop up. How do I fix it? How do I fix it? That's survival mode. And so when we're in that mode, we're basically in fear. We're not feeling safe.
Exactly.
So if I'm saved, why do I feel so unsafe?
Now, I was waiting for Dad to go ahead, but now one of the things that I've shared a lot when it comes to that word "save" or salvation, and again, me being a lifeguard, um, when I go out there to rescue someone, I just save them. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We use the word "save" or salvation in a way of trying to describe what we would consider the born again experience. And so
Which we don't really know how to identify or describe.
exactly, and that's why I feel like the word say, because I was even explaining that with the young lady that, like I said, just ran into about an hour ago before I came on the broadcast. That see the Bible that we use, which we have been exposed to for generations after generations after generations, and I told her it's a European Bible, so
Mm-hmm.
the language is not like the original language,
Right.
and so our terminologies can be very misleading.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, how I was explaining to her the difference between the Catholic Bible and the King James Bible and so forth and so on, and how the King James Bible came about. And so I believe that when we say save, we're trying to use it as a word that is describing regeneration,
Yeah.
and that it doesn't do any justice of using that word save. And so in the religious circle, when we say save, we're thinking born again, regenerated and so forth. But to others, in the term like you're using, there are a lot of people right? And that's probably a question that a lot of people have on their minds, but they're not saying it because they would say, well, if we are saved, born again, why is all of these things happening? Why do we have to worry about this? Why are we concerned about this? And like you said, fear, many people have fear of the unknown. So like you said, they feel unsafe,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Mm-hmm.
the climate that we're living in now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the emotional climate. So, man,
So
that's a challenge.
that makes you ask the question then, what is it that I'm saved from? And
Exactly.
what and you know, and like you said, what does it mean? So what is salvation in the sense of in the biblical sense or in the spiritual sense? And I realize it's not that I'm saved from bad things happening, because that still happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saved from feeling bad, because that still happens. I'm not saved from uh, any type of loss, because that still happens. I'm not saved from uh, sin in the sense that can I still do something that people would consider a label as sin? Yes, so that still happens. So, I mean, and I could go on and just dig real deep, but what is it in fact, if you're going to look at it in the biblical sense of being saved, what are we saved from? Well, some might say, well, we're saved from hell. Well, if you're living in fear, you're already in hell.
And I was going to say that
And
would be the
emotionally,
religion. Yeah.
you're already in hell. So it doesn't really save you from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I question the fact, what is really, why is it we still feel so unsafe? And I think it's, for me, I think it's because there's a lack of trust, first of all, in God being here for and with and in us, um, and knowing how to actually access that place or that covering that God is, that undergirding, that covering, that garrisoning that God is, not knowing how to activate it or sense it or whatever. So the feeling of being unsafe is prevalent. So I'm full of fear. And the scripture said God didn't even give us the spirit of fear. If I'm going
Nope.
to go by the Bible, God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of what?
Power, love, and a sound mind.
Power, love, and a sound mind. So if God has given me the spirit of power and the spirit of love and the spirit of a sound mind, then why is my mind predicting so many things that makes me feel unsafe? And
I
so
love
that's,
that word you said, predicting, because
and it does.
yeah, because if I want to use the word, the aspect of prophesying, we actually predict or declare and decree more negative stuff
Mhm,
than we do positive stuff.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so it should not surprise us because, again, of who we actually are and the ability that we have, we're creating a lot of our scenarios. And I would have to say, um, we are more aware of this natural dimension than we are of the dimension from which we came.
Yeah, yeah. This morning when I woke up, I was given the opportunity. We have a TV in our bedroom now, so I'll wake up and I'll look at a video before I get going, and I happened to run across one that had to do with anxiety, and the young man was talking about how our bodies have have is holding fear energy, and because it's holding fear energy, there are a lot of physical symptoms that we have that we are not really aware of where it's really coming from. And the anxiety is the survival mode. I'm always afraid of what might happen, trying to prevent it from happening, or I might be dealing with something right now that I don't think I'm going to be able to overcome. And so that survival mode throws my whole nervous system into hyperactivity. That's what we call it, hypersensitivity. And then I have all kinds of symptoms. It can be fatigue, it can be headaches, it can be blurred vision, it could be shaking on the outside, shaking on the inside. It can be not being able to sleep. It has a number of symptoms when your nervous system is oversensitive and in hyperdrive. So having said all that, it's stemming from the feeling of being unsafe.
Now, I glad you said that, because that I I've been watching some individuals and observing. It's funny that you said that about being anxious for nothing, because again, we have a tendency, and the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because, like you said, we are feeling unsafe, and we're dealing with anxiety. I was sharing with someone that a lot of time that affects not just our mental capacity and emotional, but it affects our bodies as well, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where stress comes from. You're always worrying about something. You're always highly concerned about something, when Jesus told us, we should not worry, let tomorrow take care of itself. And as we should always live in the now, the present. And so I've noticed individuals that develop phobias,
Mm-hmm.
always on, I mean, always on the edge.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I see in having discussions with people how it affects relationships. Because if I was once in a bad relationship, now I'm entering into another relationship, I have these safeguards up,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid that what happened to me before is going to happen again, when the person that you're dealing with now is not the person you was dealing with before, but because you're again not feeling safe because of the things that happened in the past.
And that's when the mind begins to make predictions, like the weatherman.
Hmm.
It makes predictions based on signs of what has happened in the past and what it sees happening now. Will this happen because that happened before? So this is how they come up with predictions of the weather. They
Hmm.
look at the actual currents and they look at all of the things that they've seen in the past when there was evidence of something coming later. And so this is what our mind does. It because the mind itself is tired.
Hmm.
It is tired. The mind is tired. And it wants to stop, but it cannot stop. It's in overdrive. And so it's constantly trying to fix something that hasn't happened yet, and trying to prevent something that hasn't happened yet. And so, because of that, there's a lot of tension and anxiety in us that we're not even aware of. A lot of times, it doesn't show up as nervousness, but it
Hmm.
shows up as other kinds of symptoms. Not being able to think clearly, not being able to just stop thinking about all this stuff. And so one of the things that the young man said that I thought was really, really good, he said he himself had anxiety really, really bad, to the point that he had depressions and stuff like this. And so he said the one thing that helped him was when he became aware that he was not his body and that he is not his mind.
Hmm.
So not only that, but when we say I am not my body, that's easy for us to say. I can jump over and say I'm spirit, but what that actually means is I am not these symptoms that are coming up. I am not these feelings that are here. And when it says I'm not my mind, you're saying I'm not these predictions that are coming.
Exactly.
That's not who I am, but I am now aware of them happening. And what happens to us is we try to get rid of all of that.
Hmm.
And trying to get rid of that makes it worse.
Exactly.
And so this is what the Spirit of God or the Lord or my higher self said to me today. He said, stop trying to fix it. Stop trying to not stop trying to get it to go away, but
Hmm.
sit with the feelings, sit with the thoughts, sit with the symptoms, allow them to be. If you try to get rid of them, then you're going into more hypersensitivity. So he said, sit with it, not so much accept it, but sit with it, allow them to be. You as awareness can walk side by side the hypersensitive anxiety. You can walk side by side the symptoms. You can walk side by side the negative feelings. You can walk side by side depression. You don't have to get rid of it if you know it's not you.
Exactly. That's good, Mom.
Trying to get rid of it is where the suffering is. And it's the thing that keeps perpetuating it. It keeps it going. The more I try to stop it, the more it fuels it, because I'm acknowledging that it's there. If I just stop for a moment trying to get rid of it, I'm no longer acknowledging that it's there, even if it is. I'm turning my attention away from it. So at some point, it will dissipate. He gave an example. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. He said when he was really locked into the throes of the depression, and he was having hyperventilations and all kinds of stuff, and he would go to the ER because he was scared. He thought he's having heart attacks and all kinds of stuff. So he would go to the ER, and he said a lot of times they didn't do anything for him because he had been there before. And they do tests and whatever, found out he was okay. He was normal, but he was still having these symptoms and these things happening. So he said they would a lot of times just leave him there and let him lay there. And he said because he was in the ER where there were doctors, he felt safe.
Yes.
And because he felt safe, everything started to normalize. So it's the feeling of being unsafe, the reason we can't normalize and come back down to a place of calm inside ourselves. And so he said, because of that, he said he realized then that it wasn't so much that he had to get rid of the symptoms, he had to lay there with the symptoms. And he didn't try to get rid of them because he wanted them to find something. He was no longer trying to get rid of the symptoms. He was no longer trying to get rid of the hyperventilation or the depression or any of the things he was having symptoms of. He was simply sitting there, laying there with them. And as he laid there with them, not trying to get rid of them because he felt safe with the doctors, they all normalized. Now, what does that tell you?
Now it's funny that you said that, because I'm thinking about how, and many of us have been exposed to these scenarios where something had happened, or in a relationship, or someone, didn't go right or wrong. And so now you're trying to fix that whole situation, and then someone trying to give you advice and tell you, no, just leave it alone. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. And then you don't take the advice. You go trying to fix it, and you say something, and you make the situation worse than what it was from the start. You should have just left it alone. And so when you said what you said just now, he shifted from trying to the actual state of being.
Yes, he did. That's right.
And I was like, yeah, and wow. But see, that's kind of similar to what I was teaching on Sunday about who's in your head.
Yeah.
Because when we let, literally, these situations has not happened, but you let someone sow those words in your head, and then for some reason you allow it to be painted on the canvas of your mind, and then you embrace a false situation, a false identity, and because you embrace it, it manifests as one of your realities.
Exactly. And then there is the temperament, or I should say personality, of each individual. Some people are just more melancholy and tend to see the glass half empty more than the glass half full. So that person will look at it and predict the worst. because that's their temperament. So their minds will predict the worst. And so it's not as cut and dry as we've made it seem. There's a lot of reasons why we feel the way we do and why we behave the way we do. And it has very little to do with the God or the church or those spiritual experiences. It has very little to do, but it has a whole lot to do with what I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm being aware. Yeah.
You made me think about how for some, no, should I say for many, church and all its activity for them is a safe place.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
It is so true. It's not wrong, but that's what it's for. And in fact, when I join any group, whether it be a spiritual group or some social group, it doesn't matter. It's because I feel safe there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel safe there. There are people with like minds who have same goals and same intent. So I feel safe. There may be a place where I can let my hair down because everybody else letting their hair down and their britches and everything else. And so I feel safe. I can let mine down. It's all about us feeling safe.
I'm laughing because I'm surprised Daddy said that.
I know, I'm looking at it. You ain't said that. I said that.
I was waiting for him to make a face.
Well, that's true though. I hang with the group that's letting their hair down and the britches down, and then I can let my hair and my britches down. That's why we hang out with them, because I feel safe there. I feel like I'm in a place of no judgment. You know what I'm saying, right?
I know exactly what you're saying.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
You could be you. You could be you. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I hang out with them.
Now here it is. Are we full of D-O-D-O or is D-O-D-O full of us?
Now, I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay. Now, fear. Fear is an operator. That's a word I want to use. It is a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let
definitely.
me read this to you right quick.
Okay.
Fasting and praying is the ego trying to get or keep our attention just into the physical senses, which has been altered. Motive operandi.
And most of us fast and pray because we're actually feeling unsafe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Trying to fix something.
The contracts that we signed to come here included all motive operandus.
Okay.
What Jesus went to the cross for was not to die for sins the way it's been translated to us in the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The whole thing of crucifixion, on the opposite side of that, is resurrection.
Exactly.
What has happened is that when you have not experienced resurrection of consciousness, of your Christ identity, ego is spiritualized.
Yes.
When ego is spiritualized, is where we become separatists, separatism.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It is ego spiritualized. It studies. See, I thought that if I studied and read the Bible, which I couldn't do from the beginning, that if I ever learned how to read, I would be in God's corner.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't understand was that if I did and could read, when I was finally taught how, I had to have direct experience in order to go into the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that with direct experience, I didn't have to have a ministry, but I wanted it because spiritualized ego said, if you go into talk about Jesus, you're going to keep talking about him to where you're going to have license to preach. And I didn't know that I didn't have to have them to do what I'm doing. That's the reason why I was so liberal in giving out ordination papers to everybody in my church who said that they were called or not. I gave them to people who didn't even nowhere close to getting to preach. I even gave them the permission they could marry, do funerals, everything. Everything goes to the courthouse. And some of them messed it up, made a boo-boo out of it. And some of them went to different people's churches and tried to do what I was doing. But if you haven't had the direct experience of what I had direct experience with, you're not going to be able to walk up to people and say to them, like I said today to a lady, when I come out of the store, she was had a mask on. And she took my goods and she added them up and told me how much it was. So I come around in front of her. By direct experience, I said to her, I can see the Christ in you looking at the Christ in me through your eyes. Now I'm saying this and you getting it. To you to get it is ego mind learning to do what I did. I didn't learn to do what I did. It was direct experience that caused it to take place. When I said that to her, she jumped and took her mask off and tears flowing down her face. She couldn't hardly do her job. She said she almost, she went to church right there in the grocery store.
Did you say,
yes.
Yes, she did. I messed her up. But what I did, I spoke to her real self. Now, when you learned...
You did more than that. Okay. I'm going to tell you why I say that. Because many of us, we know in our knower that, for those of us in church, we know in our knower that we're saved, if that's the case.
That's left brain.
Or even in the spirituality sense, we know who we are in that sense. But what you said to her gave her soothing of the soul. In other words, our soul can be very troubled even though we know who we are. Even though we know we are so-called saved, our soul can be so troubled. And somebody come along and pull us out of the trouble by saying something other than what our soul's mind is saying, other than what our mind is predicting. That frees us. That's what deliverance is. Yep. Deliverance is somebody coming along that can speak to the psyche of that being and pull them out of the suffering.
It brought healing to her.
Yes.
When consciousness is fully aware of the true identity of the Christ identity, it shocked the ego, and it crucifies it. There's no way fasting and praying in the ego's translation is to get power and to get closer to God. That is a ripoff.
Yeah, it's a fallacy.
It's a distraction.
Yes, definitely a fallacy.
Jesus did not, and the translators changed the power, the original lines in the script. It made it seem like to get power with God, you got to do something to get it.
Yeah.
And this whole world is full of sin. Now, when I say sin, I'm not talking about smoking, dipping, and chewing and hanging around everybody else that do. I'm talking about direct experience of consciousness being awakened to the Christ. So what I did to the lady, I said to the Christ, when you start learning, when you find out how to talk to the Christ and people, your discernment is going to be so sharp that you can tell by people's words, by their expression, by the way they look, as to whether they are patient or impatient, or whether they are ready to see, hear, and experience the resurrection of Christ. The resurrection of Christ is the resurrection of a full awareness. Not too many people on this side There are some, not all. There's not too many people who are experiencing the full resurrection of consciousness of the Christ self.
That's true. That's true.
They have it in degree. And then there are some people here that are not supposed to experience it. And this is something I had to accept. They're not supposed to experience the full resurrection of their Christ self simply because they're supposed to wear the hell out of everybody else. But that's right. That's right. When I was sitting in the restaurant again this week, these two boys were sitting in the back of the place. It was a small place, but they was cross dressers. One of them was a cross dresser, had on one of them little short skirts like that. The black tennis ball player, black girl, tall, had a little short white dress with
like Serena
Williams. Yeah.
Tennis outfit.
That was a Christian lady sitting there waiting for her order to come out, and she was looking at him. She just shaking her head. She's shaking her head. She's shaking her head. And I saw her, and I knew what she was shaking her head because I looked at him too. Now, I wanted to look at them directly because I know what's in them. Direct experience. I know what's inside behind that cross dressing and funny. I mean, you sit there and see a man with a wig on, his hair grows long like a female, and he's got a handlebar mustache and his little short dress on. You wonder, is he in the circus or show?
It's comical.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
I've been in restaurants where I've seen two women kissing each other and the two men hugging each other.
Well,
there used to be a time when judgment of the spiritualized ego would say, in hell they'll lift up their eyes. But now I don't look at it like that. When I let the lies of the land of the lion leave, and I start seeing Christ in them.
But when you let the lion lay with the lamb.
Yeah, what you want to lay with, whatever. And so I decided to pay attention to the reaction that was going on inside of my head and my feelings.
Now, I want to go back to when you started talking about the fasting and praying, because the reason we fast and pray, the motive behind
operandi is distraction.
Not every time now, but the majority of the
way
time,
we've been taught, conditioned.
Yeah, but this is what I wanted to read something right quick. This is in Matthew 9:14. Then came to him the disciples of John, saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples don't fast?
There you go.
And Jesus said to them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them?
There you go.
But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast. So that tells me this. That passage tells me this. We fast mostly because we feel separated from God.
Exactly.
The motive of
trying to get rid of the
feeling of separation.
Yep, all the challenges, exactly. Mm-hmm. Trying to become more aware, because again, in the way that fasting is taught in the church, you're crucifying the flesh. Mm-hmm. So in essence, you're putting the flesh under so that, quote unquote, your spirit will become more open and aware of God. Yeah,
that calls it thinning out. The denseness of the flesh.
There is no way anybody can forgive with the Christ consciousness. Mm-hmm. Or without the Christ consciousness. There's not anybody in this earth that can forgive without the repercussions of the monkey mind continually acting like you haven't forgiven because you haven't forgot. Mm-hmm. We always say, if you forgive, you forget. But I found out that in my Christ self, I'm 24/7 eternally forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And I don't care how many times the mind bring up the sexual incident, the cussing, the dipping, the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the murder, the hate. I don't love you. That is not me. That is not the real self thinking that. Go ahead.
Now, in Revelations, the Bible mentions about how the devil, the enemy, is before God day and night, accusing the brethren. But you just said something that made me think, see it even deeper. It is our own self, our mind, that is the accuser, because it keep bringing up
Thank
things
you.
that, like
You
you
got it.
said, it's constantly trying to condemn, trying to convict us.
It's gonna be there,
We forgive, because like I tell people, you're never going to forget it.
and you don't forget, and you don't get rid of it,
Yep, exactly.
except when it said this. This is what it meant when it said, "Oh, I had it here." The walk of the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the desires of the flesh.
The flesh, exactly.
He didn't say the flesh gonna be gone,
Mm-mm.
or you can fast and pray till you get so skinny you can get in your car without opening the door. You can fast and pray till you get so skinny you can run around in the shower and not get no water on you. You can fast and pray till you get so skinny every time you pass gas you have to hold on to something to keep from blowing away.
But you know, I do believe. I know a lot of
You ain't gonna
times.
get rid of it.
I know a lot of times we have the wrong motives, but I do believe that because God is love, and because love does always look for the best.
I don't care how much hate go through you.
Right, love looks for the best in us, and so that means that even when our motive is wrong or out of when it's not the right motive or it's egotistical, God does honor our intent.
Well, see, and that's funny because I made mention of that on Sunday, where God told Moses to speak to the rock.
Okay.
Right? But because he allowed the murmuring and the complaining of the children of Israel, they got in his head.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so he became angry when the Lord wanted him to walk in his God identity. By speaking to the rock. That means you're not making no physical effort to make the water come forth out of the rock. But because he was angry, he took that staff and he smote the rock. But see, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He was to speak, but he didn't do that. He smote it. But guess what? The water still yet came forth.
Oh, thank you.
Like you said, his motive, his intent.
It was a rock got water in it. It's there, but you can't see it, but it's there. He showed that when what you just said, struck a rock. Rock ain't got no water in it.
And this is important because the rock still gave forth the water.
It did have it.
But Moses cut his own life short.
Exactly.
He cut his own life short by anger. So this is why I like to talk about who I am and all of that, the awareness and all of that. But if your psyche is messed up,
it'll cut you short.
It will damage you.
It'll cut you short.
It will sabotage you.
5'6".
And if you respond to life through
it's
your
5'6". It's 5'6".
What did he say?
I said it cut you short. 5'6".
5'6", 5'3".
5'3", 5'6".
But if that psyche doesn't get
2 feet tall,
if at some point the psyche doesn't get healed, because it will sabotage that we are. It will sabotage us, and so it's important that we still deal with the facts of things that are happening in our psyche. And this is why I talk the way I do, and not jump over in just the mystical talk, because people can hear the mystical talk, embrace it, and believe it, and know in their knower who they are, but then their soul can be so troubled. It can still be so troubled that they are sabotaging themselves and don't realize it. And so it's because of the feeling of separation that we have, the feeling of disconnect that causes us to feel unsafe. If we feel unsafe, we are constantly living out of fear. I don't care how much you know spiritually. I don't care how much you've been praying, or how much you've had, how many spiritual experiences you've had, how many times you see the Christ in yourself. If that is happening, if that's the case, and you still feeling unsafe, you are walking in fear. That fear is more prevalent than whatever you are in God. I'll put it like that. It is more prevalent, and it will dictate your life because the predictions don't go away.
Exactly. That's why you cast down every imagination
And this is
and
the thing.
high thing that exalt itself against the knowledge of God. So I was sharing that on yesterday, because see, just like you was talking about fear, when you have that, it not only affect you, it affect everybody else around you as well.
Yeah, it
Because
does.
you become less relatable, because you're always projecting something that's not real. That's your image, that's your assumption, and then you're trying to project it on everybody else
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're trying to invite them into your world.
Now, I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. All right. When we look at YouTube, if you like to go on YouTube and look at, we like to look at YouTube. We look at that more than we do
I'm
regular
always
TV.
on YouTube.
So anyway, there's a lot of videos on there that we call clickbait, because they have titles that appeal to us and we want to click them, right? Well, the more you click on a title, AI and the algorithm
Yep,
will bring you more of that.
yep,
So
exactly.
the more my thoughts go towards something, the more it appears in my life.
Mhm.
And so this is where we must learn how, not so much to control the mind, not so much learn how to dictate, like that scripture says, cast down. I don't even know how to cast down.
Mhm.
All I really know how to do is to sit back and allow it to be. And as I allow it to be, it fizzles out. So
Mhm.
this is where it's hard for us to do that. It is so hard for us to do that because the fear is predicting what could happen if I do nothing.
Exactly.
I remember one time I was back about it, my mom was getting ready to slap me. I told her, I went radical on her.
What'd you do?
I am not the son. I am not the boy that you gave birth to.
Oh, what she did?
He's dead.
What did she do?
She looked at me. My mama had a real rubbery hand and popped. When you could be standing around behind the door and say something sassy, nasty. Some extended arm come out real long. If she's in the kitchen, it'll go all the way through the front room, out around the door, and slap you, and then pull back to what.
Kind of like what's that? Fantastic Four, the Rubber Man.
Yeah. And what I mean, she won't slap you.
Mr.
Palm.
Fantastic.
She wouldn't slap you. She wouldn't slap your palm. She backhand you.
Yeah, my dad would do that.
That'll burn the pie out you. You know?
My dad would do
my mama part of the same family.
Yeah.
Your mama farted.
Yeah.
What did she say?
I said
No,
my mama's
Did
part
she
of
no,
the
she
same.
didn't
I
say
said
that.
part of
I
the
couldn't hear
same
you.
family. Lord Jesus. No more lemon pound cake for you.
I tell you, I understand. I miss what you.
You didn't say that.
No, I heard. I said, well, he done said it. I done said it again.
I didn't say that.
What did you say? Your mama? What now?
I said she's obviously part of the same family. You
Oh,
was talking
part.
about your-
Okay, I thought she said
Just
like your
turn my
part.
hearing aid up.
I don't know. It ain't. I got the $6,000 hearing aid, and that's the best I can hear.
Yeah, your hearing aid is on the wrong frequency.
Yeah, I thought you said she's
Oh my God.
you said she's a
I
part
was making reference that
She's
she
a
does the
part
same
of that
thing.
same generation.
Yeah,
Her
yeah.
hand would go around the
Like
corner and
that.
slap
Yeah, my
me too.
mistake. I'm mistaken. She didn't fart. You didn't say that. She might be listening to this now.
Miss Ellen, if you
I need to check and see if she
Please
on, because she be
please
laughing
forgive
right
Miss
now.
Ellen.
Forgive me, Dad. Don't smack me, please. Don't smack me.
Oh my God.
And I used to say stuff like we all had different daddies, same mama, and I always when I little I always said, "You ain't my brother." My mama, she'll bring that
rubber
hand out.
hand come out again.
Yeah, she said, "Go get me a switch." I go out there and get her one. I do exactly what she told me. I got that little bitty branch, and then I run out the door and run back downstairs to my uncle. She said, "I will whoop your ass razzmatazz downstairs." She said, "I will come downstairs and whoop your ass razzmatazz." I know what she's saying, but I run home because I know when I got down there, they done spoiled me. They wouldn't let her touch me. But I'm saying this all in fun now, everybody. Don't get so serious now. I'm saying it all in fun. When you get to the place where you fully understand that you have never been a sinner, the way it's been translated, but you have been one in the sense of fearing to come home to your true identity of the Christ in you. And that fear is there to block your attention
It is.
from finding out that you've been misguided in the conditioned ego world to accept Jesus under the wrong pretense.
Exactly. Well, see, now that's good. That's good that you said that, because that's another topic that I be on with a lot of different people. You know, when we talk about like you start off with about being saved and stuff like that. Oftentimes I ask them the reason. Okay, why? What was your reasoning? What was your intent? You see what I'm saying? Your motive. See, people don't seem to forget something could seem so great and so good, but behind the scene, it's so rotten because your motives was not
Motive operandi.
And so that's what I tell. And Paul makes reference of that in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Though I speak with tongues of angels and of men, and though I, cast myself in the fire, do I do this and that and that. If I don't have love, which should be the main reason why you're doing what you're doing, is I'm doing this out of love, which I am. I'm not trying to make a name for myself. I'm not trying to get no door open up. I understand. The best way I can say this, because again, our English words are so troubling.
Yeah.
But it gets scary.
Yes.
So used to doing something back from religious conditioning.
Yes.
Or wanting those pre-shows revive, wanting them doors open up and all of that. And then now when you come to this place of maturity and being enlightened, you understand, okay, that should not have been the intent of me wanting to get another door open so I can whatever, so forth and so on. Nah. So like I shared with them Sunday, I said, y'all sit there, y'all be so wild and amazed by how I'm able to tell people certain things about themselves and this and that and that and that. I said, what y'all don't understand, I'm just loving on you.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all I'm doing is loving on you.
It's not trying to be popular.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's your compassion.
It's who you are now.
It's not to get attention, even though it does. The motive is not to get anything, but like I told a lady in the store, the Christ in her is being recognized in her. And she said, oh my God, you made my day. And she almost not been able to work.
Because it didn't just, they were not just words. They actually healed her soul. They healed that part of her that was feeling disconnected.
Yeah.
That part of her that was feeling separated. That part of her that was feeling unsafe. And when we do that is what our mission in life is. It's the reconciliation.
So I started out the door.
That's it.
This is what we're here to reconcile people back to God and letting them know. The thought of being separate we're getting rid of that thought so that you don't have to feel that way.
So when I started out the door,
it says it. God in Christ. That's the only reason why he was in him, to reconcile the world back into himself. Therefore, we have to see the ministry of reconciliation, which is what we're supposed to be doing, and the word of reconciliation. And so just like what you did, Dad, I had this situation just past Sunday and Sunday before where I'm ministering to a visitor that came to the church, and I'm telling them all these things to the Lord, and they're in tears. So that's reconciliation, because what's happening, that person now is aware that in spite of all that they've been going through and being challenged with, God does have me on his mind.
So anytime we cause a person to feel safe, anytime we cause a person to feel loved, anytime we cause a person to feel as if there is hope that things are going to get better, We are doing the ministry of reconciliation. It doesn't require me being able to heal everybody that comes along. It doesn't require me saying anything spiritual or anything religious, as long as I can give them that feeling of being safe, that feeling that I'm not separate and disconnected. If I can give them that, that is what we're here for.
Yes.
So when I started out the door, in a witness said, turn and go back to her and tell her that her loved ones on the other side, her grandfather, has been standing at the foot of her bed and visit her in her sleep at night, checking to make sure she's okay. And she went off again. And that gave her comfort. She said,
it comforted her. Yes.
And she needed to hear that. I thought she was going to shout. She said she was in church. She said, "Oh, glory, hallelujah!" And then she called herself because she's still working.
John said, "Thank God, cornerstoners are coming into awareness." And then he said, "Also nominators."
That's what I was reading. I was like, "What is John talking about?"
Oh my God.
The name of his church is Bold, so you can call them Boldenators if you want to call them that.
I'm gonna have to use that one. Nominator. I'm gonna get me a T-shirt and put that on there.
John Greensboro,
John, you all right, man.
John Greensboro, you sound like you've been drinking moonshine today.
You gave me an idea for a T-shirt.
Yeah, you did. Nominators.
I'm gonna create me a movie entitled Nominators.
Nominators.
I like that, John.
No, that's all right, John.
Well, at least, at least his mama didn't for it. I can tell you that.
So what your ministries do when you spoke to them, the people you're talking about, and when you spoke to the lady that you're talking about, what your ministries do is you take them out of the mindset of being only a body, only a mind. You take them out of the bubble or the imprisonment of their thoughts and their predictions. You take them out of that. And because you take them out of that, their souls are relieved. And so it's not hard to do. No. It's really not. Sometimes all you have to do to get a person relieved and delivered from what they're in is to make them laugh, or even just say something nice to them. Like sometimes they feeling really bad, and you can say, "Oh, you look so good today." That even would lift people. It's about lifting people.
Yep. The fear that we talked about starting off is a distraction. There is no fear in the Christ identity. That has to sink in, and we cannot preach it in, fast it in, pray it in, knock on doors and witness to people. Some Jehovah's came by and knocked on the door, and they said, "We'd like to come in and talk to you." What are you laughing about?
You call them Jehovah's. Well, I hope there are no Jehovah Witnesses listening.
Jehovah Witnesses came by. I ain't nothing wrong with that. I told him, I told him I went out in the driveway and they had pulled off and I was trying to get their attention to come back. I said, I used to do what y'all are doing. But I said, since I found out where the Christ really was, I gave that up. And one of the ladies in the back was a open book. She said, I said, I was raised up in moonshine, bootleg, and shotgun house. And some people say, what is that? And the lady in the back of the car said, oh yeah, I know what that is. I said, I came through that. And I know exactly what y'all doing. Because I said, I used to go to people's doors and knock on the door. Can we come in and talk to you about the Bible and all that? But I said, I don't have to do that anymore because that's not my purpose here. What they doing is okay. If that's what they want to do and they believe it, that's it. Yeah. I'm not against it. But I just told them, I said, I've been preaching for 57 years, at least 35. And I said, I've been through everything that y'all going through. They said, well, we're having a big gathering at the Coliseum and we want to give you an invitation to come. I thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I can't do that. I just can't go into that like I used to because my taste has changed. I don't eat like I used to.
They're just in a mode of proselytizing. And so they're trying to get more people to be Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
You breaking up. You breaking up, Pastor.
what is that popping?
That's something happening on his end.
Who's doing it?
That's on Pastor Norman's end, honey. It's on his end. Something, I don't know what that is. So anyway.
Can you hear us?
What's going on with y'all?
Well, see, it look like it's going on with you.
Now we're gonna get in the war.
Yeah, something is happening.
Yeah, something was happening. I don't know what. You hear it?
Y'all, it's freezing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's freezing on your end too. Yeah.
Every time you say something.
Yeah, it's doing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm telling y'all who that is, or what that is.
What is that?
That's AI integrating itself in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you,
it is.
Everywhere I've been for the past week and a half to go pay bills or whatever, everybody's computers are moving excessively slow.
That's right.
I don't care what nobody say. That is AI integrating into everything that we're utilizing.
I believe it.
A lot of people, they have even set it up where you cannot use analog no more. You have to get an Apple phone.
That's right.
Apple what?
Analog and Android.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Android they're getting rid of that.
So both our phones will have to eventually get rid of.
Yep.
iPhones. Both of our phones, cell phones, we'll have to get rid of and upgrade, I should say. Yeah. But you're right. And a lot of content creators on YouTube been saying that they've been having the same interference. Same kind of interference. So that all being said, young men and young women, it's been a whole hour. We've been here talking.
Can anybody out there hear us?
So Pastor Norman looks like he's freezing, and on his end, it looks like we're freezing.
Everywhere I went, our computers are moving so slow.
It's shut off completely now.
No, it's not.
That's the same problem down the road.
Let me do this. See, he's gone.
Yeah, that's on his end.
See, everybody's saying that he's fading in and out. See, it's on his end. Yeah.
And they see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up there where they can. And see Facebook. Facebook is slow. So there, you guys can hear us, but you could not hear Pastor Norman, I assume. We're going to go ahead and end the broadcast because it's going to be hard to just continue the way it is, not knowing what's happening with Pastor Norman. But anyway, we will be back on Sunday Thank you guys for listening to us.
Rondo, it's good to see you on with us tonight.
It is, Rob. We're glad to see you, Deb. Glad to see you here.
I miss seeing you.
And Miss Virginia, I'm so glad you were here, sweetheart. So glad you were here. We are going to take off here because we are still having some kind of technical difficulty, even on our end. It's a little slower and something's happening, but we'll be back on Sunday and at 10. Hopefully nothing happens and we'll be able to get on and do our thing. It was good tonight. I enjoyed this conversation. I really did. So if I'm actually saved, then why do I feel so unsafe? And you said fear. What did you say about fear?
Is a motive operandi to distract us from our true identity.
To distract us from our true identity.
And distract us from the consciousness, awareness of our Christ self.
So go about lifting those that you see, lift them out, lift the burdens off of them by making them feel safe, by making them feel loved, and letting them know that there is still hope and things can turn around for them. That's our job, the ministry of reconciliation. We love you guys. We'll be back and we'll see you on the turnaround.